We're talking about how this translates into the household. Okay, so I was saying how a lot of, I get a lot of flack from Western women that Japanese women, they have to walk 3 steps behind their husband, and they have to be super submissive. They're not allowed to express their opinions. And we kind of talked about that. They do that in the home. What do you think? Do you think that women, European women and Japanese women can be compared when it comes to their situation, their roles in the home?
I would say definitely not. And I don't really think that that level of submission is necessary depending on whatever culture. Japanese have a very submissive culture in nature, so of course in the home is extra submissive. And nobody's saying that I don't expect a Western woman to be as submissive as a Japanese woman. You know what I'm saying? And I really don't expect it, and I don't really need it. They both have their qualities. But when it comes to in the household, especially if you have children, everything is like fast forwarded now. Talking about things like women's rights and the level of equality between a man and a woman on that level between a husband and a wife should really just be kind of arbitrary, especially for Black women and Black men, because we don't have the same advantage that Japanese have. For the most part, their country, the government, the people are not attacking them. They're not targeted. So they have time to really work through this dynamic slowly. So if they choose not to, that's just up to them. But especially for Black couples, I don't understand why those kind of conversations are even going on. Like, it's almost like in a time of war right now. So the dynamic, countries with like one race, I was gonna say, where there's like internal war, or there's no internal war, that seems like a conversation for that kind of people. But for other people who, we're getting targeted, we don't have time to be discussing metaphysical levels of equality.
Okay, and let me cut in just to make it clear. For those of you, whenever you're looking at our forums, we're taking for granted that you understand that melanin-rich people, specifically Black, the people who are designated as Black people, are based in a war. They're the victims of this system. They are targeted directly. Mm-hmm. Okay, other people might get some of the what do you call it, collateral damage too, but just like the Public Enemy logo. So we're saying this in a literal and a figurative sense. So this is always in the backdrop of what we're talking about. Okay, for those that don't know, now you know.
Right. And okay. And when you see Japanese doing it, I don't necessarily agree with how it's done, but
when you doing what?
Of a woman never being able to speak her mind, or submitting completely to the man, and never really having a, I remember this one of my best friends out here, her grandmother would make rice, give the father the hot rice, and she would purposely still eat the lukewarm rice, and her granddaughter, who's my friend, was like, she's always telling her grandma, like, you don't have to do that, you don't have to do that anymore. And while he was eating, he was always complaining about how the food was so plain and all this, and she just kind of sits there and takes it. But you could just tell this is how the culture is. Like, that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be like, yo, this don't taste that good, and you need to make it better this time. Next time, add more of this. And she's just like, yes, okay, And I can see why nowadays, even Japanese women now, are like, hell no, I ain't trying to do that. So on that level, I understand submissiveness is to an extreme at that point,
Okay. So again, of course it does happen, but I want to talk about the flip side of that too, because some of that is maybe from another generation back in the day, but they also have a lifestyle called Kakadenka in Japan, and and it existed way back then too. It may be more, it can be argued that it's much more prevalent nowadays. I mean, because I know it's to the point where they actually encourage this on television. They say that everyone should be living this lifestyle, like, and this lifestyle entails, the biggest part of it is that the woman handles all of the money.
Right.
And I mean exactly what I'm saying. So the man gets paid, and he not basically, he does hand her all of the money, and she will give him back the money in which he is permitted to spend, his pocket money. They call it, pocket money. And as well as to children, children, whatever expenses.
Right. But she handles the finances.
But then, and that's not the only part of it. But in some houses, it varies. But in some houses, the woman is a tyrant. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And this is just as much Japanese culture as what Sterling just explained to you. I don't think we could say. I don't think we could say one is more Japanese than the other.
That's true. And
that's going to be, again, something it's going to be fun to ask those Japanese women this weekend.
Real talk on that. The Kakadenka thing. This is kind of the goal for most women who, to me, are unbalanced in Japan. You can see, like, they have it on their face, like, I'm going to get a man. He's going to work for me. And really, I just want a baby by him. I've heard women say this, like, I just want the baby and not work. Truthfully, I just don't want to work no more. And he'll go and work for me, and that's just how it's going to be.
Work for me.
Yeah. And you're
that's
like,
how
wow.
they see it.
Okay. Yeah.
I remember I told one guy when I was teaching a lesson at Mitsubishi, near the airport. And the guy, he was a younger dude, and he was, so we're going through the self-introductions, and he told me he was married, and I was like, and I just joking around was like, Kakadenka, I was like, or so, I didn't say he was Kaka, I said, make sure you're not, something like that, but it was kind of in a joke. But that struck a button. He was like, no, I'm not Kakadenka. No, I'm not. He was like, no, I run that. I run my house. And he told me that like 3 weeks in a row. He mentioned it to me. And I was like, okay, man. Like, I was like, just don't knock me out. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't beat me up, homeboy. But I was like, I definitely struck a chord, and I didn't bring that up anymore. But so it's big. And when I found out that, it was being run on television like that, that really blew me away,
So what you mean run on television, like they're advertising this is the way to do it? Yeah,
they say it on news programs or different programs. Yeah, they'll just casually put it across, just like, wear a mask during COVID-19. Right. Maybe not quite that strong, but I don't know, because Japan really doesn't have a mid ground. Just like they on the trains, they shut up. You shouldn't be talking. They don't. It's not that. It's indirect. It's polite, but it's polite, but it's still direct. They don't. It's not like they give you an option. Don't. Maybe you should. No, don't. It's not good to do. There's no middle ground. They say it's not good to do. That means don't do it.
Right. Yeah.
That's I guess the best way to put it. Yeah. Yeah, all of that.
Right.
Like, it's not good to do, right?
Yeah. Right. It's almost like they belittle you, not belittle you, treat you like a child. What is that word? Not patronize, but they say
patronize.
Yeah, they condescendingly say it to you, like, well, you can't do that because it's not safe. You shouldn't drink and drive because it's bad. You could hit somebody. I'm like, yeah, I know you could hit somebody. Like, yeah, you can get in an accident.
And they go right, and they get you to agree with them. They get you to agree with them, and pretty soon you're just like, yeah, I ain't doing that no more. It's weird how they get in your mind.
Yeah, I'm not drinking and driving, by the way. I don't even know how to drive.
I was gonna say he ain't driving, period. If he drove without drinking, you would think he was drunk.
Oh, come on, yo. You ain't even seen me drive.
That's the point. No one has.
All right.
That's the point.
Hey, yo, man, why you emasculating me on camera, dog? Like, come on, man.
That's right.
And that's what I'm bringing it down to too. Is like, if you're dealing with men who have that kind of a complex, then yeah, maybe he needs to get emasculated. Shit, I'm not saying any of it's right or wrong. Like, I don't want to take it to any extreme, but if it gets extreme, hell yeah, we're imbalanced out here.
And because
the Japanese are imbalanced too.
Yeah, the world is sick. The world is sick.
Yeah.
It's just like having, back in the day, people always would ask me about the herbs versus the Western medicine. And I'm like, no, for the most part, yeah, I think Western medicine, a lot of it is just too abrasive. It interferes with your normal bodily functions. There's natural ways for healing. But again, yeah, you get hit by a car or your arm is hanging off.
Where the morphine at? Yeah.
Let me put some leaves on top of here. You know, there's blood coming out. Hey, let me just, you could dive in those leaves. You know what I'm saying? In those herbs, that ain't gonna help. That's a time for surgery. You know, there's a time because we live in this world. The world is poisonous. The world has so many extremely negative things. So sometimes you have to come with the opposite.
Right.
But generally speaking, you know what I'm saying? In a perfect world, no, we probably shouldn't have any of those things.
Right. You know.
And please remember, we're going to bounce all of this off of women. So stay tuned for part 2. I wanted to read a quote that I pulled up from the article that I had written. And this article can be found at afroasiatic.jp. It's actually the latest Nippon series. I didn't realize it's been a while ago. It's been like since February I haven't written on this one. So I need to put something out here. But this is a former prime minister of Japan. His name is Okuma Shigenobu. And he actually is the founder of Waseda University as well. And Waseda is one of the biggest universities. Yeah, biggest universities.
Princeton level or something.
Yeah, it's a private school. Okay. All right. So he says, talking about a woman's place in the home. Okay. And again, this is from, I don't know which year he was prime minister, but it wasn't real. This is back in the day. So he says, a woman, first of all, influences her husband. The popular saying, the husband and wife are like each other, speaks the same truth. Again, she is the mistress of the family, and as such, her power in the family is immense. This power is surprising. What the mother likes, the child likes, and her tastes will become the tastes of the family. I mean, when I hear that, that sounds like you're talking about a black woman from my experiences too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know?
Right on.
Big Mama, Big Mama's opinion in the house. When I go, you friends cookouts and stuff, always know who Big Mama was. You know what I'm saying? Because she had the most influence over everybody. So why do I bring that up? I bring that up to say anything that we talk about in terms of chauvinism or Western women talking about, like I remember one Western woman was like, I can't bring up my daughters here. They're gonna be like these Japanese women. She was talking to other white women. I think I saw a video, and they didn't know they were being filmed. And they were like, really like, yeah. And they all were in agreement, like, yeah, like them, like these, demure, passive, people.
Right.
And I'm here just to say, like, so if women were being so oppressed, just across the board, I mean, this quote also couldn't be true. Doesn't really float like that in America with black women, because black people aren't, they're not the dominant society in the U.S. I'm only talking about or even in the Caribbean, anywhere.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, like right there. And that's why I'm not going to say that this kind of modern, this new way of talking about toxic masculinity is like a black woman thing. It's definitely a white woman thing.
Yeah.
Because like you just said, usually white women from the West talk about this hardcore. It's almost like it's almost like it's to an extreme level. Western Caucasian people can get very extreme. Not all of them, but a lot of them can get real extreme. My friend had a girl who refused. She was like, I'm not going to shave my legs. I'm not going to do anything. And one time I opened the door for her. She got mad at me, like, I can't open the door for myself. I was like, damn. It's on that, huh? She like, to the point she getting mad at you.
Yeah.
And you still with her? Like,
Yeah, that's just again, it just gets to the point of being ridiculous. Because in another note, Japanese women over here, because there's no sense of like of chivalry in terms of being like, the opening the door, as Sterling just mentioned. Japanese women do a lot of things that you would think like they're gonna pick something up. They're not waiting for you to come do it.
Right.
They do a lot. Like I remember when I first got here, one of the things that the woman who, like a lot of Japanese companies order bentos at lunch. Bentos are just a lunch
Lunchbox, lunch set. Yeah.
Yeah, lunch set. Yeah, right.
I take out lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, take out. In this case, well, actually, the traditional bento was the mother's making it, the child or the husband's taking it off to work or school.
Okay. Yeah.
But in this, now we're talking about, modernizing it. They got places, Hotomoto, and places where they
7-Eleven even. Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays. So anyway, I was working at a school. Lady comes, truck pulls up. She has trays for all the faculty. So she has like 30. She's gonna have to make like 2 or 3 trips. She's just one woman. So me pulling up on my bicycle, not me coming out to school, me pulling up on my bicycle, I see a woman. Instinctively, I'm not trying to pick up. Actually, not even a woman. No, the fact that it was a woman, it did. She's picking up one. I'm thinking I'm just gonna pick up one and take one in there with her. But it never dawned on me that this is her job. If she can't perform this, then she's not qualified to do the job. Well, she snapped at me. She's like, what are you doing? Put that down. Like, I'm like,
yeah.
And at first I thought, the black thing, because this is I just got here as an adult. She's thinking I'm trying to steal it.
Yeah.
But then I'm getting ready to tell her, like, no, I'm trying to help you. But then I listened to what she was saying, and there was no misunderstanding. Like, get out, ain't nobody going up there to help you plan your lesson.
Right.
And I remember I was like, whoa, okay, let me. But conversely, if you hold the door for a Japanese woman, man, you made a friend for life.
Right.
Because they're like,
oh
my God.
Yeah. Yeah. So they don't even get any of that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I would definitely.
Is that good? Is that good that they don't get it? What do you think?
Advantageous to a man. Hell yeah, it's good that the less I gotta work at it, the more I'm gonna like you. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? That goes for any people. So, I can only tell you from a man's perspective, but the less attention I have to put on you, the easier it is for me. So
okay.
A birthday comes around. Oh, you didn't get me no present. He just took me out to dinner like he did last year. A Japanese woman would be very happy with just that. You remember my damn birthday? I'm like, yeah, sometimes I forget. That ain't nothing to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This last girl I was with was same. She was just like, I was like, yeah, it's funny. I never even thought about when your birthday is or anything like that. She was like, yeah, it's today. I was like, what? It was crazy how it was just in my mind. And I'm wondering how many signals she sent that whole time where I got in my mind. And I was like, well, you want to go out and get something to eat tonight? She was like, yeah. So we had the dinner, had a good time. And she was happy to the mug. And I was like, yo, it's so easy. You know what I'm saying?
Making it easy.
Yeah, because, it's just so easy. Now you can take that as a good thing or a bad thing, but on my end, that's real easy. And I know a whole lot of Western men who would be happy to hear that. Like, damn, that's all it takes.
Right.
Open the door for her, and she's happy to hear that. I mean, if you can't do those kind of things for a woman, what can I do to make you happy? Because the whole point is I get happy by making you happy. And shout outs to Patrice O'Neal for that. I learned that. I was like, the only pleasure I get is providing your happiness. What I think is necessary, because really, I don't give a shit about none of this shit. I'm not really thinking about any of it.
Right.
Birthdays and presents and going out with you on these on trips. Like, we can just stay at home and do the same thing. Like, if it makes you happy, then it's all good.
Right.
I'm necessity based. A man is necessity based.
Okay. Let me. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Finish?
Done.
Okay. I wanted to rewind back to the scenario that you talked about a woman smacking a dude.
Okay.
Is there any situation? Well, first of all, if a woman smacked you, what would you do? How about that?
I hate to say it, but I probably would end up smacking her back.
Okay, you say probably. So this is
if I'm really, it depends on a slap, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna, if it's like one of those how dare you and it's just a quick slap on the face, I don't think I will react. You're coming to really attack me. Who knows what mood I might be in? And I'm trying to tell you ahead of time that I'm not above it. I'm not one of those dudes who takes pride in hitting a woman, and I'm not one of those dudes who takes pride in not hitting women. Right. I don't think about either one of them. I don't take pride in either one of them. It is what it is. But I like to think I like to say, if I'm hitting a woman, it's because she attacked me first. That's
okay. I guess what I'm at. Is there a situation, or can you just see a situation where a woman really smacks you, like really smacks you, and you don't hit her back?
No.
When I say really smacks you, I don't mean like she like for guys, like if I really hit someone, I'm trying to hurt them. You know, a woman is trying to smack you, like to show you. You know, I'm not like, in other words, she's not coming at you as a man as much as I think a woman smacks you to let, like, you know, like in other words, it's a dude hit you and then he gonna follow it with beating your ass.
Right.
A woman doesn't smack you like that. A woman doesn't smack you with the like, and then I'm gonna kick you into the ground. They're smack you like you did something wrong, and they're expecting that it's gonna stop there. That, you know, right? Or you know what I mean? Like they don't think you're gonna hit them back.
Right.
Or if they do, then they really don't think you're stronger than them, which then maybe they really need it. You know where I'm coming from.
Exactly. Right.
Okay.
No, well said.
Okay. So is there a situation where a woman could just get upset and be like, what? And smack you, and you just take it, you wear it?
I can't imagine that situation right now. No.
Okay.
Now, I can't think of every situation. Maybe there is a situation. Maybe there is a situation where that happens.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Reason
but I like to
that,
think that I'm righteous enough where if I smack you back, I believed it was a righteous slap back.
Okay. I remember one time, my uncle, he asked me that in front of, his man, I used to call my uncle, his wife was Japanese, and I guess they had an argument about that. This when I was young, I was like 13 or something. And he asked me, he was like, "Todd, come here." He was like, "Now you grown up, you're getting ready to start dating. If a woman hit you, what would you do?" He didn't even say, "Would you hit her back?" What would you do? But I was a little bit young, and I was thinking about my sister, and I was like, I can't imagine if anybody, it wasn't even, you talking about equal rights. My father, anybody hit you, you hit him back. You know, if you bold enough to hit me, you know, then I'm going to let you know that ain't going to float. So I think that's the general consensus in mind, the way I was brought up. But I watched a movie the other day, last night, where the woman smacked the dude, and it got me to thinking, because I knew we were going to do this topic today. And I was like, wait a minute, is there a situation where if a woman slapped me, you know, I wouldn't slap her back? And I would say, well, I guess the answer would have to be yes. But that window is pretty small. And I said, so what, you know, and I started coming up with different scenarios, and I was like, so what is the common underlying theme? And the underlying theme of all of that is the woman who hits me. What is her, in my eyes, what is her level of virtuosity? If she is a virtuous woman, she could slap me and I might not even know what it's for, but I would be like, if she slapped me, then I must have deserved it.
All right, I changed my opinion. Yes.
You understand?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's why I asked you first, because you didn't even really consider that, not because you're not an enlightened person, not because you're closed-minded, not because you're a chauvinist. It's because, and this is maybe me being a chauvinist, where is that virtuous woman? Where is she? Does she exist? And I'm talking directly to the women. I'm talking to each and every one of you. You know what I'm saying? Can we be a virtuous woman and be into twerking? I don't know. I'm not saying we can't. That's for women to decide. I'm not talking about, there ain't nothing wrong with I didn't say that. we're talking about the ceiling on this. You know what I'm saying? What happened to I don't hear all this women's lib stuff, all this stuff. I don't hear that word virtuous being tossed around. And when I think of the word virtuous, to me, it's like a fixed idiom. It goes with women. Not that men can't be virtuous, have virtues. You hear that in religion. But when I hear virtuous, the first thing I think of is woman. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Anything?
Wow,
anything to share?
I mean, how could you even add on to that? That is, I guess I could say, I would like to think that's the same way with the other way around. A virtuous man is the only kind of man who should deserve the respect of a woman's submission. You know what I'm saying? Right. I'm not saying you need to walk around and just submit to every man you see. You know what I'm saying? You're like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's probably that submissiveness is probably the reason why women be on the train getting felt up on the train in Japan. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the downsides to that. You're a little too submissive. You're submissive to everyone. If somebody filling you up, just say it out loud. Just be like, what the hell you doing? You know, things don't even have to. Things don't get violent in Japan often. So. I met a woman who did get. She saw another woman getting felt up on the train. She walked over to the dude and was like, "What are you doing? Is he touching you?" And she looked at the woman, and the woman didn't really answer back. And she was like, "You were touching her, weren't you?" And the dude got real angry, but she was like, "Well, you're not going to hit me, because I'm just peeping out what I saw." You know what I'm saying? And on that level, I was like, okay, she might be publicly putting him on the spot, but that's a very virtuous thing to do right there.
For those who don't know. I mean, women get groped on, physically, sexually assaulted, groped on probably everywhere. I don't know that it in any other country that it's almost a custom in Japan. It's called chikan, and they have all kind of videos about it, and I've seen it take place a couple times myself. And so yeah, it's a little bit strange, especially when you see it like up close, because you know. It is just weird because you're like, am I seeing this? You know,
right.
And I don't know, you know, and I remember I spoke out one time. The first time I spoke out, and the dude got up and ran out of it was on a train, and the girl just was still sitting there like this, and I realized I embarrassed her by calling it out. Not saying I you know, of course you have to do something, but I realized that this wasn't her first go at this. This she's a target. She draws them guys to her, not because she was promiscuous, because you could tell she looked like she'd been raped over and over again.
Yeah,
and she was just like, and I remember when I first came, you know, as an adult, I was like, why are so many people broke down like this? I'm not saying all of them are chikan, but it's something like that. The ijime, the bullying, it's all the same kind of energy. These people, they can just like a dude who's stealing in the States, a guy, we used to call them stick-up kids back in my day. And those stick-up kids, they could look and they could tell okay, that's the target right there. Over there. They can see them coming and going. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a product of what they are. Yeah.